Kyle?
Yeah.
There is only one hope.
It's some sort of constant tension.
In theaters.
After readings.
Viewer discretion is advised.
There is only one hope.
It's some sort of constant tension.
In theaters.
After readings.
Viewer discretion is advised.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to After the Previews Reacts. On today's show, not to After the Previews Reacts, After the Previews Reviews. On today's show...
You've been alone for too long.
I know, I've been sadly, desperately alone in my car. It's been a while since I last reviewed a movie. And now, on today's show, we have our special guest, our community manager, RUFFUM'S.
Hey.
And today's show is brought to you by Casper.com. Casper mattresses. They're the sickest, cleanest mattresses in the world. And you can try them out for free at CasperTrial.com/afterthepreviews. You can get $50 off any mattress purchase there. And you should go there and try out their mattresses because they are so good that they will give you a guarantee that you can give it back in 90 days or something. Who gives back a mattress, you know? That's just gross.
But you can.
You can do it, though, and that's the thing. How many mattresses do you think that they have actually gotten back if that's their guarantee? None. Because their mattresses are so good.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's probably a lot of work to move a mattress out of your room and send it back after you already.
They're like, dude, we just give this mattress and tell them they got 90 days to give it back, but it's comfortable enough that it's like that J.D. Power initial quality Chevy test that the Chevy keeps getting, where for initial quality it's how good the car is for the first 90 days.
J.D. Power and Associates.
J.D. Power is a made-up award.
Yes, sir.
By the way, for all the audio listeners, Garrett was holding a VHS tape of Casper the Friendly Ghost the entire time during this.
Closely. That's completely an old school VHS opening. There's no other sound like it. It puts the spine on my chills and all that good shit. So.
Puts the spine on his chills.
Yeah, puts the spine on my chills. That's what we do here at After the Previews. No, but $50 off a free mattress or a free mattress offer for you to get $50 off of your purchase of a mattress, and you can send it back like Kyle said. So,
again, that website is CasperTrial.com/afterthepreviews. And now for the fucking show, for the thing you're here for.
Goddamn.
We're talking about Spider-Man: Homecoming, people, and today's panel is a panel of mixed reviews on this one. So get ready for a fun ride. Let's just jump right into it. Spider-Man: Homecoming stars Tom Holland as your boy, Spider-Man. Peter Parker stars
Melissa Tomei as a...
Marissa Tomei. Marissa.
He made me Melissa in the pants. Alright, never mind.
Alright, okay.
No, but what I'm trying to say is that she was very much the butt of the joke throughout this movie. That she was the hot aunt. So I wanted. I didn't
like that one so much, but we'll get into that. We'll get into that when we get into the review of this. But Marissa Tomei, she does play Aunt May in this movie. She's returning from Civil War, where she and Tom Holland were introduced.
Mr. Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton
Vulture.
is here as the Vulture. That was a pretty cool character, a very cool villain. And
it's one of the better Marvel Studios movies. Villains.
Yeah.
Why am I gonna say videos?
Videos.
It's one of the best Marvel videos I've seen on the internet. Yeah, that was one of the things is that when you go into a Marvel movie, you don't always expect a fucking good character as far as on the villain side.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a lot of spectacle around these movies.
Marvel really bases their shit around their heroes and the hero's side story, and to see a cool villain like that was a nice, refreshing change in the Marvel MCU.
And then Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man.
Obviously, he's coming in as the father figure type
mentor
for Spider-Man.
Yep, Zendaya as Michelle.
That one, we'll get into that a little bit later, but I thought that was weird.
Rolly as isn't that the guy who played? Yeah, he played Flash. Tony Rovioli.
Yes.
Oh, Flash Thompson.
Flash Thompson.
Yeah, it was jarring at first, but we'll get into that as well. We'll get into all these.
Yeah,
definitely. Donald Glover, he was the Prowler.
That was cool.
I wish he was in the movie a little more.
Definitely.
We'll definitely get into why that was weird, but I did think it was cool that they were like, hey, fuck it, we'll just get Donald Glover for this thing. Just throw Childish Gambino on that.
Laura Harrier as Liz Allen. Brokeem Woodbine.
That she was cool.
Shocker. Kenneth Choi was the principal.
Wait, Brokeem, he was which Shocker? First Shocker or second Shocker? Shocker that stays around?
Yes.
I thought that was a cool, like, that villain, when they announced that it was going to be Shocker, I was like, dude, come on, are you fucking kidding me? But that Shocker was actually kind of cool. Like, I was like, alright, they're not using him so much that they have to focus on why Shocker is the fucking villain.
I think that was just the joke. Like, I think the line, and I didn't catch this till second viewing, because the first time it was like, when he was like, "You're the Shocker now." That's just a big shot at like how lame of a villain the Shocker is.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Anyone could be the Shocker because no one cares.
Exactly.
Like, no one cares
when they did that when I was watching that, I was like, "That's so fucking perfect." Like Michael Keaton literally just like, "And you're calling yourself the Shocker now? Really?"
I'm just glad how they just focus on one villain this time instead of like multiple ones that they tried to do with Spider-Man 3 and Amazing. There are quite a bit, but they just focus on just one.
Yeah, there's a
Vulture is always the main focus.
Super villain.
Yeah, you have the Shocker, you have the Tinkerer, but they're all just helping him, and like the Prowler, Scorpion's even in there.
Yeah.
They're leading up to all this stuff, but in the right way.
And you know what was really cool about it was that, like, Shocker had a name, and Tinkerer, like, they said that he was tinkering with things, but they didn't say he's the Tinkerer, you know? Or maybe they did, but it wasn't like it was his actual name.
It's just more low key.
Yeah, exactly.
Just saying the Shocker, everyone's like...
It wasn't like fucking Batman versus, or not Batman vs Superman, but like Dark Knight Rises, where you're like, oh, okay, well, you've got all these fucking villains, and they all have names, and we're gonna put them all in this one movie, and it's like,
or Amazing Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man 3.
It's just like you got too much shit going on. Focus.
Yeah, and it's cool that the Vulture is the focus, which allows these other characters the chance to like shine in their own respect. Whereas there's almost too much pressure if you have like. Now you're the secondary villain, Shocker, so you'll have your own moment, so play it up, because we have the fucking... In Spider-Man 2, you're going to be in the opening scene, and he's going to catch you, you know? Like, there's no pressure of that, because they're all just kind of building to this... There's a villainy with the Spider-Man Rogue Gallery that we know, in that fact that they're already working together, even if it is on such a small level. It's kind of important still, and, like, they really hit that on the head with the actors' performances. So.
I like the way that this movie also kind of, like, without... reaching too far, does tie in the Defenders with just one small line. Robert Downey Jr. saying, there are people that handle that. And it's kind of like, they're not Avengers, but they're not cops either.
But unless the cops were the FBI. That's why the FBI showed up on the ship.
I don't think that was alluding to the Defenders at all.
I thought it
no.
was, man. I get what you're saying.
I understand,
like,
but...
He's talking about something small time.
You're never going to see any of the TV show characters or any mentions to them, so...
I knew that the TV characters won't show up in the movie.
No, not even show up. I'm saying even mentions it.
You don't think they'll be even mentioned?
I don't even think they're going to say anything about what's going on. Hell's Kitchen, whatever, S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah,
that's why it's them, but I don't think the TV... Like, I think the movies are on their own little high pedestal where it's like, we're not going to pity you, but you can pity us because we're going to help you.
Well, no, because there's a feud going on between the Marvel Studios and the Marvel Television Studios, so...
If there was such a
you're not ever going to see them
if the TV guy has
combined
to
together.
His pride to a certain extent, because you're always going to hear them say the big incident, you know what I mean? Referring to Avengers in the Defenders series.
Right.
Because it's like getting put over by a wrestler. Like, The Rock getting beaten by, like, Stone Cold Steve Austin or whatever the one is. That big fucking one where it was those two guys, and then the little guy beat The Rock, and maybe it was Stone Cold Steve Austin that also got beat. That was being done because The Rock was leaving, and to show the big guy getting beat by the little guy looks better. So, like, those TV series need that little push, because then it's like, oh, I saw the Avengers just like my mom and my dad, so now we could all watch the Defenders, and it ties us in. But it's like you're talking to a small audience with the Defenders to bring them in.
See, I interpreted that the other way around.
Get what you're saying.
I'm like, they're mentioning them, so why wouldn't they mention them? Like, that's dope, all right?
I would love for Luke Cage to come in and like.
I don't even want him to show up. Like, I mean, if they just like,
I want Wilson Fisk though.
I mean,
awesome.
He would be the best to bring in here, but yeah.
He's the one where it's like, I'll swallow my pride and just take back everything I just.
Because he is like an actual Spider-Man villain, so it'll be cool to see him in there.
But with the Prowler, man, like, he's not called the Prowler at all. It's Childish Gambino's character.
Right.
And all it's showing is that the Vulture is selling weapons to the Prowler, which just builds the universe even more just in that whole idea, because it's like, boom, they're like on street level, like he just wants a gun. What does he want the gun for? You know, probably some bad shit. But we don't need him to do anything.
Didn't he say that? He's like, yo, I'm just trying to rob some people, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, by the way, are we going to head into spoilers?
Is that spoilers? Sorry.
No, that's not.
Not yet, but if we are going to eventually go to spoilers.
Spoilers out of the way, and then we'll move into a spoiler section, and we'll just go ham. So I would like us to just get on like, would you recommend this movie? Yes or no? Why?
Absolutely.
Yes, I would recommend it.
We'll go on and then get into the specifics of the story. But honestly, the first portion for all you audio listeners, video listeners, whoever it is, and if you are listening to this on the Consultation Podcast Network, we appreciate you. Go look us up on iTunes and other audio podcast services. But after that, we're going to go into spoilers. So, beginning of the review, hopefully, you know, get a good praise if you haven't already seen the fucking movie, which I can't imagine you haven't. It made like, what, 119 first weekend? I think that's the projection right now. I just saw a news article. But, yeah, so then we're going to go into spoilers. So, leave if you haven't seen it. Save it for later. But
what are you guys' thoughts on Tom Holland as Spider-Man?
I think he's the best version of the character that we've seen as far as someone taking on Peter Parker and Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I'm going to be controversial when I say this. I didn't like Tobey Maguire's portrayal as either Peter Parker or Spider-Man. I just didn't feel he fit.
I don't like.
I don't like his Peter Parker.
So yeah, I'm backwards. I like his Peter Parker. I can't stand his Spider-Man.
I love Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker.
I like Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. I didn't feel he fit as Peter Parker.
I didn't like his Peter Parker. I just thought he was too cool to be Peter Parker.
Yeah.
Peter Parker's not cool. He's not. I think Tom Holland got it like spot on with his Peter Parker. Like I think.
Yeah, if a kid nowadays got the Spider-Man powers, then Andrew Garfield will probably fit in that role. But that's not who Peter Parker is.
He would have murdered it if this exact script around this team with these people in the Marvel Cinematic Universe with Andrew Garfield. I don't think there's any world where that guy of his acting caliber wouldn't have murdered this role. Like, it's honestly not like the biggest meaty role as far as showing off chops, but there's something about that guy as an actor, and I do agree that he does look old and he's too buff, and like there was this like skater vibe to him, but that was kind of the. I think that was a product though of a time where it was like. The nerds are cool, and we're trying to show you that nerds aren't nerds anymore. Like, in a present day, like, the smart kids aren't the guys who really necessarily make fun of it.
Right.
They're going to be the most successful motherfuckers in the school, you know what I mean? You can't deny that fact in real life now. Like,
that's true, like, yeah, that's fine.
That was also a play on, like, anti-bullying. I don't know if it was, like, a good play, like, to be like, oh, see, like, not people who are cool getting bullied, too. Like, bullying is around everybody. Like, he still got made fun of at school, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but it was like very
I just didn't feel like the whole him getting bullied really fit the kind of character that he's done for.
Why I say he was the best Peter Parker is because the moments between him and Gwen Stacy and Aunt May, all those moments, you can't deny. That's Andrew Garfield coming and fucking up to bat and hitting a home run. As far as like he's looking at that script and he's like, piece of fucking cake. And it's so believable that the very two people who were in love on screen literally fell in love in real life. Like that shows something. So I think that's why I always say that that's the best Peter Parker. But Tom Holland handled both sides of the character just perfectly. Like there wasn't one moment where I was like he's a better Spider-Man than a Peter Parker because he understood the balance of both of being a kid and being a superhero and having to struggle with that from the moment where he's on top of the fucking roof overlooking the party and he sees the blast. That's choosing between being a kid and being a fucking man. And like he chooses to be a man. And be
I don't think that was him choosing to be a man though. That was him choosing to be a hero.
He wants to. Though.
No, because I feel like
up though.
Well, I still see Garrett's point of view on that.
He didn't have. It's not about. It wasn't about him like choosing to be brave.
But when I say being a man, I'm saying that's him choosing the opposite of being a kid.
With great power comes with great responsibilities, and they're actually showing you.
Right, definitely. But like his reason for being the hero wasn't really because like it was the right thing to do. His reason for being the hero is because he wanted the praise of being a hero. You know, that's why he kept saying Iron Man, like, yo, I want to step up. I want to do something real because he wasn't doing anything real like. All that little shit he was doing in the very beginning of the movie, he was just protecting people, and it wasn't like he was like, yeah, like I'm protecting people and I'm doing a good thing, but like I'm not. Like you guys are up there on TV and you guys are doing all this like really big stuff. You're saving the world and I'm saving one person. And he wanted the glory of saving the world. That's like That's what I see when he turns away from the party right there.
Well, I don't want to go into specific of who he saves, but there's that one scene once he gets to the blaster, that one person he saves right there.
And I think that was a learning moment for him, but I don't think that was like. I don't think really that was the climax of the movie yet, and I don't want to get to what the climax is yet until. No, it definitely wasn't the climax.
That wasn't my point.
No. It was obviously not the climax, but I mean, like, I don't think it was even a very climactic, of climactic importance as like compared to other moments that we'll get into later in the spoilers, because I don't want to fuck up like what what his learning really was in my head. So, but going back to the whole high school thing with like not Flash.
They actually make it feel like a high school this time.
Right.
See, maybe I'm old then, because like that shit did not feel like high school to me at all. I was like,
maybe not towards you, not
technology.
Maybe not towards me, maybe not towards you, but I do feel like this is somebody has to gone through something like this.
Bro, I feel like there's no way where that isn't like I can understand that is a high school and it felt so much like a school, especially on the second viewing. Like my whole.
Everything about it felt way millennial to me. Like, I didn't get, like... I mean, I understand it. I just didn't...
That's fine, because that's where we live right now.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that we can't, like...
No, I know. I
think that's more of a product of, like, we're just older.
That's just an opinion thing to me. It's not at all like a...
But, what I'm really want to get across is that my first viewing, guys, and I don't know if this is something that we can agree with or not, but... I was jarred. Like, it was the most punch in the face where I walked out of the movie and I was almost indifferent about how I actually felt about it. And it wasn't because, like, it wasn't a good movie. I recognized that movie was great from the first viewing, but my opinions of that character and how it was playing in this world that we're getting introduced to, but we're also kind of just getting thrown in. You know what I mean? Like, what we know is the first Spider-Man movie, ever since we've gotten these iterations, has been like, we have a formula here, and this is a certain thing that they're sticking to.
Are you saying because this is a different Spider-Man than we're used to? Because not only just...
We've seen Spider-Man interact with other superheroes, and just with that alone, like, it was
this
just
is
such
the
a
first time we've seen him interact
but
with
also
other
because...
In his own movie, yes.
But,
Spider-Man Civil War has 10 minutes of screen time, you know, that's not really me interacting with him, like, on a Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's fair, yeah. He's not building with other superheroes, right.
But also with some changes to some characters that are known. One of them I just want to say is Flash Thompson. This is much different than how we are, because the other ones he's a jockey.
For anyone
this one
who's still here, by the way, sorry, I didn't want to cut you off. I just got to make this point before I forget again. For anyone who's still here, I'm going to have a lot of negative things to say about this, like coming forward or like going forward in this review. But I do want you to know, I do recommend this movie. It's still a very good movie.
I think all of us recommend this.
Yeah, I just have like negative ass things to say because it's just my opinion of this movie. Not that it's a bad movie. It's just.
I'm pretty sure we'll all.
Definitely go watch this shit.
We'll have some shit to say for sure, man.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, like
so yeah, with this one, previous ones, Flash has always been a jockey. In this one, since the school is like a Midtown School of Science and Technology, I believe it was called. So yeah, this is going to be
so
all the characters are going to be smart because this is like maybe like a private school or something.
Right.
So
everyone's of a certain level, but there's multiple scenes where you're showing Flash in class answering a question and getting it wrong. So whether or not everyone's at a certain equilibrium of intelligence, Flash is easily the dumbest kid in that smart person's class.
Maybe he's not the dumbest. Maybe he's just not as smart as Peter. So there's a weakness to him.
As a Flash Thompson character at its core, he's a little Indian kid. I mean, like, what else do you like? Obviously, at face value, we're gonna see differences of what I would picture Flash Thompson being, and at face value, you're like, what the fuck? But the minute he says penis Parker, I'm like, I'm sold. That's Flash.
That was cool. That was 100%.
And that's something that a kid would actually do, like as a bully.
Yes,
and that's something a modern bully would do too. Because like bullies back in the day would not. I mean, they would go with penis Parker, but they wouldn't stop there. They'd go with like, hey, penis Parker, poof, punch you right in the face.
Yeah, and that's not a modern bully either. No one, like, I don't think people are just walking up and punching people in the face. It's psychological. Penis Parker is like something you're just like, so fucking stupid, but why the fuck does it bother me? Like, god damn it. Like, I can see that going down. And the whole DJ thing, I just want to throw in there. Everyone knows a douchey DJ friend.
That is so messed up.
The funniest fucking thing to me that like, in writing, like, I could picture John Watts, like, cracking up, just like, we're gonna make him a DJ, because everyone has a douchey DJ friend. Like, that is the version of the douchey jock. It's just a douchey DJ. Like, he was fucking doing the air, like, everything about that is just like, that guy is clearly the dumbest motherfucker ever. Like, everyone likes him, but also hates him in that room at the party, and it's something that is of a modern time.
My
It is
problem
of
with
the
Flash
essence.
though was that like he was all these things, and all these things were good aspects of this new Flash, this new evolution of Flash. But my biggest problem with him was at the end of the day, he was still a little bitch.
Mhm.
Peter Parker is not supposed. He's supposed to be like embarrassed by him, yeah, definitely. But he's also supposed to be like mildly afraid of him. Like this is supposed to be a dude who like Peter Parker is like, man, I can't stand up to him for a reason, not just because he's embarrassed, because this is a Spider-Man. This is a person who's already established himself as Spider-Man. He's already been out there and he's experienced the big times.
Which
So
is
it's
why
not
hard
like
for him to be scared of Flash.
exactly like why is he afraid of this little bitch? Like why doesn't he just get in his face and be like, look, man, like fuck you. Like he can say shit. And he can.
That's
be,
also back to him just being a good kid.
yeah, that's
I
true,
think
but
it's
but like the way that Andrew Garfield was a good kid, and he was like kind of playing mind games with Flash with that basketball thing, and he was like
That's
fucking
a different
with him.
Peter Parker.
Yeah.
Right,
too,
right,
and that's a
different
product
Peter Parker,
of it.
totally.
That's a good example, though. I didn't even think about how like Andrew Garfield was a little bit more aggressive. Would you agree, Ruff?
Yeah.
And like I don't want to compare him too much to Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker. I don't want to compare the portrayal so much. It's just that I feel like in the writing it should have been maybe addressed as like why does this Peter Parker fear this Flash Thompson? Because I never got the impression that he was afraid of him. I just got the impression that he was just like, man, he's gonna say some shit and make me look like a dumbass.
I think this Peter Parker's more innocent
Yeah.
than the other ones, though.
That's fair, but I mean, like in my head, like as a fan of Spider-Man, like to me, Peter Parker's always been innocent, yeah, but he's also always been like literally like mildly afraid of, like that's a core element to what Peter Parker is. He's afraid of this bully, and he stands up to this bully at some point in the time. Like there's him standing up to this bully face to face is more important than him stealing this bully's car as masked Spider-Man, because really Peter Parker didn't stand up to Flash in this movie. Spider-Man stole Flash's car.
Yeah, but I think once you go down that rabbit hole of like.
Yeah, I know, it's
No,
splitting hairs.
No, I'm saying like my point is that if you go down the rabbit hole of him standing up to him, then you're already calling back to a lot of the versions of Peter Parker that we've already seen, and that was very much the point of this movie, is to not go down and tread that same.
I definitely get that.
That sucks because it kind of puts you at a hindrance, and that's where I get back to the whole jarring thing. Is like I just had to wrap my head around the idea that okay, this is what it is. And once I realized that this is what it is, because we've seen these other things happen in other universe movies, but they don't apply now. They're not being referenced. None of this is happening. There's no Uncle Ben. There's no swinging from a fucking skyscraper. That's not a spoiler. That's just what it is. You
I'm
know
not
what I
talking
mean?
about for the cinematic value of it, though.
I'm saying once you go down that path of him standing up to Flash, or him being a little bit more like, oh, that guy, I'm going to get him back, like, then you're literally have to put in, like, I feel like you're almost more pressured to be like, well, with great power comes great responsibility. Just because you can beat his ass doesn't mean you should. And they don't need to retread that, you know?
Right, that's fair.
Why they were very careful with how they dealt with each character, and whether or not it was good or not, I came to terms with it on my second view.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, like, at the end of the day, all of us as viewers have to come to terms with what this movie is, but I think, like, I'm just talking about from an artistic, from a writing aspect of it. I think it is it's a better way to tell a story of a person like growing up and maturing and understanding, and that his power has to mature with him mentally, you know? It's more, I guess it's more impactful if he stands up to his bully face to face than with a mask on, you know? Because with a mask on, he could have been anyone, but now if he stands up to him face to face, that bully, that little bitch in the car, he knows, man, Peter Parker just fucked up my day. Not, oh man, Spider-Man fucked up my day, even though but everyone loves Spider-Man. But he could be like, man, Peter Parker just fucked up my day, and now everyone's gonna like Peter Parker, and he wins. Then Peter really wins, and he beat Flash. But in this movie, he never did really beat Flash. To me. I mean, yeah, he did. He stole his car, and he told his buddy, dude, I stole Flash's car. And like, yeah, that totally works, and there's nothing really wrong with that. I just think it would have been like more impactful if he really like Flash felt that he lost to Peter.
Yeah, I totally get that. I just don't think we needed that kind of focus on the movie.
Yeah,
though.
exactly. Like, they focused on all the things that are more important. And like I said, this is me splitting hairs.
Yeah.
And that's like me just kind of like, man, I wish like the real lore of, or not the real lore, but like the lore of Spider-Man that I know was part of this new just because they tried, or not that they tried, they spent so much time and effort on making this the best Spider-Man that they could possibly do. Like, hey, what did we do wrong in the last ones? What did we learn from it? You know, and I feel like they did improve over the last movies.
Yeah.
But improving over it, I was like, man, like they improved so much. Like, why change the story?
I just think it's retread, man.
Yeah, no. You're totally right. That is why. That would be the answer to my question. Why change the story? That's it. That's not the answer that I want, you know?
I guess. That's the thing, too, is that's why I was so caught off guard at this. Is like a lot of it was like, I can't hold any of this against the movie because it's just my own personal quarrels with like what I thought this movie would be. And once I just wrote that out, because it's not fair to the movie for me to have my own expectations of what I want from a Spider-Man movie, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And once I realized that this is a movie taking place after 20 movies prior to it, then it makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's honestly as good as they could be. And it's for the better because between like the idea of this being a condensed, like the biggest action scene or one of the best action scenes, like not the biggest, take that back, but one of the best in my opinion is the one that takes place in the suburban area. And like that's insane because that's something I've never thought about, like Spider-Man swinging from like suburban.
Yeah, like he has to run through that golf course.
And like that one moment where and this is spoilers, I guess, but it's not. But it's.
Oh, we're past spoilers by now. I talked about him stealing the car. And
yeah. How about we just start getting into spoilers from now?
What's your score, and what do you guys, yes or no, recommend the movie?
Definitely recommend.
Okay, what's your?
I definitely recommend the movie as well.
Score?
Why are we doing it? Like out of 10?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
usually.
And you can go specific or you can go rough, whatever you want.
I'll go 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10? Nice.
I'm gonna give it a 7.5 out of 10.
Damn.
It's definitely like I mean 7.5 not being like, you know, like in school. I'm not saying this is a C. I'm just like
It's still a good score, no matter what.
It's like what I mean, I feel like everyone's number represents something. It's just whatever you feel. I think I'm gonna go higher than you guys, honestly.
All right.
I actually really enjoyed this movie the second viewing, and like I know I keep saying that, but literally, like I walked out feeling brain dead from the first one because it was like
there's too many thoughts.
What's wrong with me? Because I have so much to fucking say. But 9 out of 10.
All right.
It's definitely like high 8, but I'll give it a 9.
You heard it here,
I think
people.
I'll like it better. So.
All right.
Since you said Logan is like your favorite superhero movie this year, is this your number 2?
You know, man, that's a good question. I love Guardians too, and I know a lot of people don't feel that way, but like there was something so personal for like the original Guardians. That's the most I've ever seen a movie in theaters. I saw it 8 times, 7 times, 8 times in theaters.
I've seen Avengers, the first one, like maybe 10 times in theaters.
Like straight up, I went to Guardians like so much. I saw Guardians 2-3 times, so like I really enjoyed that movie. But it didn't really like. Once I realized that a lot of that beginning of that movie was just like a stand-up show, then I realized that like, oh, there's something, like it's really like, oh, everyone's funny, everyone, like Drax the Destroyer doesn't destroy, but he's funny. Don't forget that. Like that's kind of like a shitty message in the end. So like I think going back with all these like new thoughts in my head, I'll probably knock it down a little bit. But no, right now Guardians 2 is ahead of Spider-Man at the moment. But Wonder Woman also is.
Wonder Woman.
It's got pretty good fucking movies this year, guys. So I can't complain at all.
This is crazy, but I'm gonna like. This might be the first time that a DC movie is above Marvel movies for me.
Hell yeah, man.
Like, but Wonder Woman's up there. Like, I think that's probably my favorite. Then Logan. That's hard to say. Those can interchange like on the day. Like, or ask me one day it'll be Logan. Ask me another day it'll be Wonder Woman. But
I have to go with Logan.
Yeah. That's a good movie. I can't fault you for it.
So
like nobody can, but.
What's the first spoilery thing? This is your last chance, by the way. Get the fuck out of here.
Here, let's talk about Tony Stark.
Yeah.
What's his presence in the movie?
Yeah,
if you've seen any of the trailers, any of the marketing, in any of the posters, it's misleading when it comes to Tony Stark.
Oh my
You
God.
expect him to be one of the biggest parts of this movie, and he's
I
not.
thought he was gonna be a sidekick, like borderline sidekick to Spider-Man.
There's no action sequences in this movie at all involving Iron Man.
Opposite, where Spider-Man's gonna be the sidekick to Iron Man.
I was worried either way. Like I didn't want it to be either way, so this was actually kind of a good thing for me. It was a nice surprise, and I liked that this was misleading in this way because when they show Iron Man show up and fucking Tom Holland yells at him and he's like, he says something and then the mask opens up and he's not even there and Spider-Man just looks at him like, man, fuck you. Like I was like, dude, that's like all the audience right now.
Right?
The payoff when it comes to their second conversation
Yes, and he
makes
goes,
it much better.
If you cared, you'd be here right now. He steps out and he's like, "Yeah, man, fuck you." I'm like, there's a lot of fuck you going on between these two, back and forth, and I like that a lot.
Well, it also just adds a lot more emphasis on the age of the characters too. And, like,
Yeah, it's a clear father-son relationship.
But they're both heroes, and that's like the thing that is like, even though they have this one thing in common in their own like personal traits, like
they're heroes on a different scale.
The age gap like is still there, but one character doesn't want to admit it, which is fucking Peter in a lot of ways. But then, you know, I think Tony Stark also wasn't giving him enough credit on a hero level. So there's like really good chemistry between them, and I think it was vital. But if he was in one more scene than what he was, I think it would have been way too much.
I don't think Tony Stark wanted to admit that there was an age gap either. You know, he was trying to tell him like, "Yo, you gotta be this person. Like, do good." I mean, he literally says like,
He was kidding.
Yeah, he was definitely kidding. But I mean, like, you're talking to a.
I don't know. That's a terrible way. He was making him like feel like an adolescent just by like the baby.
Well, yeah,
baby
the
mode
condescending talk. But I mean, like, with the whole like, don't do anything I would do, and definitely don't do anything I wouldn't do. There's a small gray area in between. That's where you operate. That line right there is just like a clear like, dude.
You're younger than me though.
No, it's like. There's a very small area of shit that I want you to be. And I don't even know how to tell you to be that. Just figure it out and be that. And this kid's like, dude, how the fuck am I supposed to know what you're talking about right now? And that's, in my head, that's Tony Stark, like, not wanting to admit that there's an age gap between them, too. Because he's like, dude, you're a hero. You should know. You should know what you're supposed to do.
What do you interpret that line as?
Well, actually, I found it interesting how Peter is going through the same thing that Tony went through in Iron Man 3 about who matters more, the man or the suit?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a brilliant callback, actually. And then, wait, wasn't there something? Did you guys hear about this? That the kid in Iron Man 3 is Peter Parker or something?
Oh, you mean Iron Man 2?
Yeah, Iron Man 2.
Kevin Feige and Tom Holland said that is.
Yeah.
I don't buy that.
A retcon, but
I don't buy it.
There's a kid at like a science museum.
Do you remember in Iron Man 2, during the climax where all the drones were attacking and trying to locate where Iron Man is at, and there's a kid with the Iron Man mask?
Yeah. And
Tom Holland and Kevin Feige said that's Peter Parker.
Okay. I mean, sure, why not? Who cares?
You didn't own the character then, like, or they don't own the character now, but they didn't have him, and you know what I mean. So it's a complete retcon, but I'm cool with it. Whatever.
Yeah, I mean, if they want,
I don't buy it.
I don't give a shit.
I don't buy
If
it.
it is or it isn't, it doesn't change anything. Like, who gives a shit? So.
You know what's
Thanks,
one thing?
Tom Holland and Kevin Feige.
There's a nitpick that I have with this movie that bothered me when it did it in the beginning of the movie. After the whole beginning part, which we probably should talk about, it doesn't. It does no. Michael Keaton's character.
Oh, okay. So you saw it in the second time too, though. Okay.
But yeah, well, it does the time skip and it says 8 years later. Where does this movie take place then? Because I thought all these movies, minus Iron Man 2, Thor, and the Incredible Hulk, happened in real time.
I thought so too.
So if the Avengers was supposed to take place in 2012 when the movie came out,
This is 2020.
yeah, that means Homecoming is.
Yeah.
But if Homecoming takes place in this year, 2017, then what year did the Avengers and everything before that took place in?
See, a lot of the time frame too, like with the whole like him in the car.
Wait.
Like what I understand is like the beginning part with him in the car where he's like saying he can keep the suit. You know what I'm talking about?
The home video?
Yeah, that whole sequence, but the afterwards where he's driving and he's like, what are you making, some like vlog or whatever?
Yeah.
That whole part is what I understand to be after the fight in Civil War.
Yeah, it is after the
But
fight.
before Tony goes and has the big fallout with Captain America.
I thought all of that was just leading up to Civil War, like maybe like a few days or maybe a week before Peter's part.
Because he already had the fight and had the suit.
Well, no, like before you start seeing footage from Civil War, and then like when the whole car thing's like maybe like a week or so after.
I don't buy that to me because there's no like the way Tony Stark is playing it off right now. If he had already gotten his ass beat by Captain America, he healed really quick. And secondly, like that's why I think it actually like that vignette in the movie is like somewhere in between the actual timeline and stuff.
Well, in Age of Ultron, they have like some machine that healed Hawkeye real quickly.
You're right. It could say science, magic, Doctor Strange healed him. I mean,
Could
there's
be
a
makeup,
billion.
too.
Yeah, there's a billion.
He's vain, so he could be covering up his shit.
There's a billion answers.
It
I
could
don't
be-
argue it, but you're right. There is a time frame that is blurry.
It could just be an error on their part. It could mean nothing at all.
They're like, dude, we met fucking 6 years later. Shit.
It might be nothing at all, and we're just making it a bigger deal than it is.
Huh?
They said the DVD release says 6.
Yeah, right. They go all fucking
That's
Steven
hilarious.
Spielberg on it.
Yeah.
6 years later. 6 years later.
So what are
Fuck
some
you
of the
guys.
things
Alternate
that they
universe.
like queued on with the movie, like looking forward, and or should we just get into the ending? And
Well,
how
let's
it
is
Well,
there-
let's
is there
talk about the
anything else that
beginning
you guys
part.
Didn't
Okay,
like about the
let's-
movie. Is there anything else that was bad in your opinion?
I mean,
Because I don't want to go back to bad after.
I'm saving for when we get to the end part. There's one character I want to talk about.
Okay.
What about the beginning? Do you want to get into?
The whole now since Sony is now working with Marvel, so it's interesting how they start off the movie showing what happened after. Well, a little bit after the Avengers.
Yeah, I mean, I think honestly, this movie was completely produced by the Kevin Feige team. Like, I don't
It is
think
confirmed that Marvel Studios pretty much handled the entire movie. It's just the marketing and Sony holding on to the rights and everything. Yeah, and the budget.
Sony paid for it, and Marvel just steered the ship for them. Just get it perfect. So
Yeah.
that is probably a product of really we're trying to get Tony into this story in a way where it doesn't seem bad. And I think actually in the script you can probably see a bigger. I could see versions that didn't make it into the final cut of the movie where there's more lines from Michael Keaton's character where he really has like a stigma for Tony Stark, like more so like I could picture him just being like for fucking Stark and all this shit, because that one scene of him in the car where he brings up Stark and he's like he just lives up in the high castle.
Yeah, he's like, how do you think he made his millions?
The
That's
car
almost like a
scene was
consistent thing.
the car scene was Toombs and that's his name, right? Toombs
Yeah.
and Peter Parker. Fantastic.
So good, man.
The whole thing leading up to that was them at the house. Yeah, the twist.
The minute you realize that like he opens the door because
That's a twist that actually works.
There was so
So
much
well.
about that because right
Really
before
well.
that, there's this montage of Peter going through like, dude, you know what? Fine, I'm gonna hang up the Spider-Man. I'm done. I don't want to be Spider-Man anymore. And that montage was filmed so well that
Perfect pacing.
you forget that all the whole time that this is going on, Vulture is literally planning the biggest heist of his life. You forget about that because of the pacing of that scene, and I really like that.
You don't realize that it ties so closely into like Tony Stark moving out of the Avengers.
Exactly,
Which
it
is
has-
also a thing that's
It's
like,
a
in the back of
background
his mind.
story that's like, it's like, yeah, they keep mentioning that he's moving, but like, why
These
does
little threads
why
just
as an
cross.
audience, like, why the fuck do I care that they're moving? But
It makes so much sense with Liz's character too. Like it was so perfect that like,
Yeah.
reveal
there's
is
no reason why
amazing.
that couldn't be her dad.
You were next
know?
to me and I straight went.
Yeah.
Because they know we're such ignorant motherfuckers that we're not gonna ever think Liz's dad is Adrian Toombs. I'm just
The
being
only
honest.
kind
They
of person
did
who-
play that perfect.
The
man.
only kind of person who predicts that twist is the kind of guy who's like watching The Departed and the first half hour is like, Leonardo DiCaprio is gonna get shot walking out of an elevator, guarantee.
Right,
That's
he's
the
a
only
fucking
kind of fucking
fortune
person.
teller.
Yeah, the only person who predicts that thing is that guy. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say the most random shit right now.
The only clue that you could probably predict that twist was the trailer showing the one part of Toombs just saying his dialogue. Like it's out of context, but
What does he say?
I don't remember the line
Something
exactly.
about
Like,
his daughter, though?
oh, like no, not to his daughter, but like if you say anyone or anything about this, I'll kill you and your family.
Kill you and
And-
everyone you love.
There's a
Yeah,
better
and
part.
you know him just lounging on the chair. Like they showed that part in the trailer, so you
Yeah,
could probably
they
connect
do
the dots.
Show him in a car, but like I never would have been like, that's a prom car. Like he's dropping off his daughter too,
Yeah.
right? Like I would have never been like that. I'd have just been like, he picked him up on the street somewhere.
Because he's in a car and that's like jarring and he's talking to Peter Parker. Yeah.
I saw that and I was
only
just
other
like, I
thing-
thought he picked him up on the side of the road
Yeah.
somewhere. Like, hey, fuck you, man.
There's also
I know who
the
you are.
moment where he's watching where he's like, it's something like we gotta find the kid, and then he's like found him, and then he's on the TV, and it shows that he saved the decathlon people.
Yeah, the Washington.
The
thing.
way he reacts is like Michael Keaton's so good too. Like his eyes are moving back and forth, and it's like he hears DC. He's originally just looking like Spider-Man, and then he hears DC, and then he hears high school, and then he hears decathlon. And there's a moment where it says
Yeah.
decathlon where he looks down and then looks back up because he like realizes that that's his daughter's fucking.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you actually paid attention to his face during the whole time at the stop, his face is red from the red light.
Oh yeah.
While he was thinking, like processing the entire thing, and then once he figures it out, it turns green.
Yeah. Oh, you're right.
That's
That's beautiful. I didn't even put that into like fucking motion, man. That's beautiful. Damn, I can picture it now. Damn, I just saw this movie last night, so oh man, I'm stoked. I love little shit like, you know me, I love little cues and just little like weird framing like nods and just like lesser smart movies I can usually see something and just be like the way that the angle and the music is being played that they're trying to like foreshadow something. You know, I hate that shit, but I didn't catch that at all, and like now watching it, knowing it, you can just see little things like that. That's so good, man. I didn't even know.
That's cool.
That's beautiful.
One of the bigger things that I liked about this movie was that it was like it's still an origin story, but it's kind of an origin story in reverse.
Which is like, him getting to know his powers more.
Yeah, exactly. It's like he's already experienced the big time, but his origin doesn't hit. I mean, what Spider-Man really is he's that friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, you know? And his origin story is not going to lead up to him going on to the big time, being an Avenger. That's like way down the line in storyline as far as Spider-Man comics go. So this origin story is him like already experiencing the big time Avenger thing, and he's like trying to learn and grow up as an adult and like to grow backwards, to be like, I don't need to be this big person, like I don't need to be this big hero, superhero. I just need to be a hero. I need to make I need to keep people safe, not the world safe. And that him growing backwards that way, I thought was a really cool twist on like the origin story movie, you know?
I like that too. I want to talk about that scene with Donald Glover, the second one. I just want
with the fucking on his trunk.
Miles Morales little nod where he's.
There was a lot of Miles Morales nods in here, though, wasn't there?
I only caught that one.
Oh, I thought you were
just the whole. Well, I thought they were just. I thought it was gonna be a little bit deeper cut where they just said Aaron Davis and you just know that that's the character who's like the uncle of what's his name. But then they go even further to where he's like, yeah, man, like I'm actually like he respects Spider-Man because he was like willing to take a bullet to the face for this place, and like they connect on the sandwich level. Like Spider-Man is your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man in this movie.
Yeah.
And not only that, but he
just needs to understand that
he's so New York-y. I'm just saying they do a great job of just showing it where he's arguing about the best sandwich.
Oh yeah,
just saying shit like the best sandwich in Queens, and like that whole exchange where he's getting the $10 versus $5 meal, and like just how he plays that scene is just so like he's a member of this society and he cares about these people.
Right there is why I like Tom Holland as he's my favorite Peter Parker, because he's the only one that, I mean, we can like talk about what Flash means to Peter Parker, but really like Peter Parker is Queens. No matter what version of Peter Parker you want to go with, unless you're talking about Spider-Man 2099, whatever. I mean, but technically he's still Queens.
Yeah.
You know? But Peter Parker is Queens, and this is the first actor we've seen who really embodies that kid from the burbs in.
Because the whole montage in the beginning of the movie was him doing those minor things like helping catch a guy who stole a bike.
Yeah, exactly. But like
slipping up and such, like you can.
And it's like that's like the kid thing playing back, but it's still so New York with how the people are reacting. Where it's like, that's
Stan Lee, like when they're all like yelling at each other outside the windows, like, "Hey, how you been? Hey, shut up!
How's your mother?" She's like 70. It's great, man. But back to the Miles Morales thing. That one line where Childish Gambino is just like, "I have a nephew around here, so I want to keep the streets like semi-safe, man. Like I'm on your side."
Yeah, he's like, I don't want that shit on the streets.
I'm not a good guy, but I'm on your side in this case.
I like when he's like, "Hey, 2 hours, that'll be gone." He's like, "Nah, man, I got stuff to do." He's like,
"I have ice cream in the car."
He's like, "I got ice cream in the car, man." He's like, "Hey, you're a bad guy, or you're a criminal."
You deserve it. Sorry, 2 hours. Peace. Just gone. Just the way those whole scenes were played is phenomenal. Just great.
I think that was actually a cool thing through a lot of this movie was how all of these actors were very well, like, they had a lot of good chemistry in this movie. Like him and Michael Keaton. That scene when he bails on prom and goes to the warehouse and the shit's like mostly empty and Michael Keaton's like monologuing to him.
I love that line. It creeps. I just got goosebumps where he just goes, oh, hey, Pete. He
Yeah.
reminds me of this, like, creepy hillbilly on the farm who has,
Yeah.
like, a shotgun behind him and he's just going to blow his...
Yeah, exactly. Like, he's like, I knew you were coming. I knew you weren't going to take that fucking very threatening, very eerie advice I just gave you less than half a fucking hour ago in the back of my car where you literally just must have bailed on my daughter.
Yeah.
He's like, there are so many reasons for Vulture to want to kill Peter Parker right here in this moment. Like, on top of the fact that he's been fucking up all his heists for the past few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Like, on top of all that, now he has even more reasons to want to kill this kid.
Right.
And he just goes, oh, hey, Pete. Like, that's fucking weird, man.
That was eerie, man.
Yeah.
For sure, that's the word.
And I love that. And then, on top of that, he starts monologuing to him, and Peter Parker's like, why are you telling me all this? He's like, well, I had to charge my shit. Like, I had to get that thing ready.
Yeah, the way he says it, because he says, well, I was going to do this, and I needed a little bit of time to get this girl over here.
Yeah.
He said, I just want you to understand my point of view, and also to get her flying.
Yeah, because I needed a few minutes to get her in the air, something like that, right?
So good. No, get her flying was it. It's
And then the
perfect.
thing comes through and doesn't touch him once, and he's like, I'm sorry, Pete. For what? You haven't even hit me once. Yeah, but I wasn't really trying to.
Did you know that? That was like so every video game I've ever played.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
just watching that, you're just like, he's just gonna drop this.
Yeah, I saw that coming, but like, just the way that they reacted off
So
of each
good.
other, I was like, dude, this is so good.
What's your guys' favorite actual scene? Because I want to get into that scene that follows. So the ceiling drops on him. And that moment where you're seeing the reflection of Peter Parker in the water and it's half the mask, half him. And he goes, come on, Peter. Come on, Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's the most iconic
So good.
scene
I
from
like
the
that.
comics.
Yeah, it's a really iconic scene, but he acted his ass off. Like, when he's screaming, you hear a kid screaming and it just
Yeah.
breaks your fucking heart.
Yeah.
Man.
I love that scene. The one thing I have an issue was just calling back to what Tony said. I feel like he didn't need that at all.
What do you mean?
He's
Literally,
it just
like,
repeats
having
like,
that
are you a man like without the suit or not?
Yeah,
Oh,
where
he
he
says
says
like
if you,
that.
if
They
you-
didn't.
if you're
They
nothing
didn't
without
need.
the suit, then you're nothing at all.
Yeah, they didn't need that in there. Coming after Wonder Woman was the whole No Man's Land. How they didn't go there was saying, like, this is No Man's Land, but
I'm not a man.
yeah, they didn't go with
They
that.
just kind of like
They just had Wonder Woman just go up onto the battlefield. They didn't need to do the callback to what Tony said.
It's the same thing with Batman v Superman, where they have the callback to his parents getting killed.
Yeah, they didn't
Like,
need that.
Really, like you're gonna show
I
us
like
like.
your guys' point of view. I do even think about it like that way. To me, it was just like, if there's any cookie cutter Spider-Man moment, that is the cookie cutter Spider-Man moment, where it's just like, that's literally that's the moment where you know that's the most personification of Spider-Man.
Right.
And
It was a
right,
good
though,
moment.
you
You're
don't
absolutely
need
like
it, though.
Yeah.
the
You're
lift
right.
was a great moment. I have
Yeah.
nothing wrong with him lifting and
I
like
just got
talking to
caught up in the
himself.
feels of a kid crying. I
Yeah,
think, but you're
all-
so right.
all that was amazing.
Because they did a great job up to that point of just getting the more show, not tell, and like
Yeah.
that was a lot, too much show and too much show. It was like, let's tell you the whole point of why I'm about to do this.
Yeah, exactly. It's like we get it.
Yeah.
You're manning up.
Yeah, and I thought they really respected the intelligence of the audience with this movie. Like,
Mhm.
they didn't beat anything over the head, but the more you're talking about it, that moment kind of is a little like, yeah, like, alright, I expect that in all Spider-Man movies, but
Yeah.
you're doing so much different in this one that maybe you didn't need that one moment.
One thing I wish, it's not really a bad thing because they kind of make up for it in a way that I don't know if I really like it as much as I think I do, but there wasn't a whole lot of Spidey sense in this
There's
movie.
no Spidey sense.
We
Yeah,
we see that he has like heightened reflexes,
he just
kind
has
of.
the suit.
The suit tells them
And I
everything.
don't like that. I don't
The
like that
minute
at all.
where the window is shown, you're just like, oh well, he doesn't know where the window.
I mean, yeah, he dodges, but they don't make any point of this is because of spider sense.
And going to the very last scene,
And I don't
he
like
knew
that
man
because,
was
like-
right there behind him.
Right.
And like
And
they asked
Well-
him about that.
well, when it comes to
Asked Kevin Feige,
When it comes to spider sense, it only goes off when he's threatened, not when there's a friendly
is this in the
with him.
comics?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's normal.
So
That makes
Kevin
sense.
Feige was asked, like during the whole press junket afterwards, and they're like, "Hey, so does this Spider-Man have a spider sense?" And he said, "Yeah, he definitely has one. It just isn't as it hasn't developed like we know it yet."
Okay.
So we're still. in
If
the
they're
early
gonna go,
phases.
if they're gonna get into that later, then that's cool. But if they're not gonna have him have a Spidey sense
It's
at
kind of
all,
whack.
yeah,
it's
like-
too much like Iron Man in that.
yeah,
I just
exactly.
don't know
I
if-
don't want Iron Man to, or I don't want it to be the Iron Spider.
But can we talk about how good Karen is? Karen was great, man.
But yeah, I don't
Oh,
know if I
yeah.
agree with
You told me
Kevin
to choose.
Yeah, Karen is funny.
Feige on there, because if you made the entire movie without spider sense or at least not mentioning it, and you have a suit that tells Spider-Man everything that he needs to do, it feels like you don't want spider sense, but since fans didn't like how you didn't have that in there, like,
you're covering your ass.
yeah.
I think he's
Hey,
also
that's
talking
fine.
about
I mean,
a
it wasn't-
character that he doesn't directly own. So
Yeah.
there could be a world where this Spider-Man could continue outside of a Disney production, where like Sony could take it back, God forbid, after they have a deal for 6 movies, so they have to either renew that contract or the contract ends.
Yeah.
So we have to figure out what it does. So it's not really Kevin Feige's place to talk about the character of Spider-Man in the future, because by Spider-Man 5, he doesn't know exactly what they're going to do with that
Yeah.
character. He can just talk in the realm of what he's made, and in this movie, they didn't draw attention to it, so he's saying, no, not really in this one, but in the future, like you're
Bottom
saying,
line, attention has been drawn to it now, so what I think they should do is just have a Spidey sense later on in the next few movies, and don't spend too much time trying to cover for why it wasn't in these ones. Just go with it, because this one wasn't bad enough. And the fact that they didn't mention Spidey sense in this was not a big enough deal that it's going to ruin anything in the future if they're like, unless they just straight up go like, oh, by the way, I have Spidey sense. Like, if they can work into it like, oh, what's this shit developing? Like, I keep fucking like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
That could also take away, like, the Iron Man-isms if you're Sony. To be like, now he has a spider sense and doesn't need the Fauci shoot. Like, there could be a line where he's like, you want the suit? He's like, don't need it. Like, it just knocks off that shit. It's like, oh.
You know, I mean, but he can still have the suit for
I
all
guess
the,
you
like,
can
for
political
this.
with it, where it's
Yeah.
like, oh, you don't have the rights to the Iron Man suit anymore. So
Yeah,
now he has
definitely,
Spidey
definitely.
sense.
But like, if
we have a suit
he
that
could still
tells
have
you
the
where
Spidey
everything is.
sense and the suit, because the suit does all the cool web tricks and shit.
Yeah,
you know?
but it also had that scene where he was like listening in. And
Yeah. I mean, with all that stuff though, that I think they should focus less on, because that makes him Iron Spider, not Spider-Man.
Speaking of Iron Spider, there's that scene with the suit at the end, and it had that gold reflection. It wasn't a straight gold and red, like the reflectiveness of the color and how the lighting came onto it.
Mhm.
It gave that gold-plated look
That
for a
seemed
second,
funny as shit,
and then
yeah.
came in with a little bit more of a white touch. I thought they were actually showing the Sony Spider-Man, the game, and I thought,
Oh,
I'd be like, oh my god,
Marvel
it is Tom Holland. You bitches. Like, it's just his new suit, and then it wasn't. I realized that the white wasn't like as intense.
Yeah.
As they made it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so that was a cool little like wink at Iron Spider.
Oh,
They
so-
also had a little line
yeah.
about the prototype for new Cap Shield. Do you guys think that'll play into like them maybe giving him a little upgrade? What's your opinion on that? I'm actually.
I mean, he's gonna get an upgrade.
During that scene, they talk about a new Hulkbuster suit, a new prototype Captain America shield, and I don't know how to pronounce the name of Thor's magical belt, which they make fun of in there as well.
Oh, no, yeah, his belt, I don't know.
But because we know that Tony has the shield after Civil War, we know that shield was damaged. So do you think this is just normal upgrades that Tony's known for doing, just always teching things up, or do you think there's going to be an actual like he hands in the shield and there's going to be something actually significantly different?
I don't think it's going to be anything
Okay. So
different.
Yeah,
It's just a wink, a nod.
It's the same way that in Winter Soldier they had on one of the computer screens they had the name Stephen Strange. It's just like, whatever. Like, eventually this is going to come back, but you're not going to know or care.
It's not going to have his...
Like, hey, if
Yeah,
you're a
it's like,
comic
once this
book
comes back, you're
guy,
not gonna
this
get
is going to please you.
Yeah.
Alright, nice.
Which is crazy because, like, this whole movie was like, if you're a comic book guy, this is going to make you feel, like, really mixed a lot.
That's what a lot of it was, too, just because of the fact that we're seeing him with other characters, and that's, like, the biggest, like, plus one.
Oh,
for
can
this
we talk
movie.
about fucking Michelle at the
Yeah,
end?
I wanted to
And
talk about
Shane,
that.
Hold on, what's your
come
guys'
on.
funniest moments to you? Like, what made you laugh the hardest?
Oh, God, that's hard. This was a comedy.
Is when
Ned.
they're walking into the dance, and Ned goes, hi, Peter, and then she goes, like, the way she plays that is the perfect.
Yeah.
So fucking good.
What's actually was really funny about that is that girl, when she did that, that reminded me of my friend Aubrey, and that's just fucking hilarious.
She
You know,
reminds me so much of Aubrey.
Yeah,
Holy
exactly.
Shit, that's on par, man.
The funny scene was Ned was when he was doing the guy in the chair scene.
Yeah, when he was going back and forth.
Yeah.
He's just
I'm
guy in the
looking at
chair.
porn.
yeah, that was the funniest line to me, I think. Was
It's easier to explain than it's to say that you're helping out a superhero.
Like, in this day and age, I can 100% see a kid in high school
Definitely.
being like, I'm looking at porn. Because, like...
It's easier
I
to
don't know,
explain.
like, I'm not in high school now, obviously, but I feel like the high school...
Kyle's 15.
Yeah, right. I feel like the way high school is treated by teachers and students now is a lot different than when it was when I was in school. If this movie is to be taken seriously at all,
Yeah.
then this is clearly different than when I was in high school. And There's just, I mean, that's just something that no one would have ever fucking said when I was a kid. Like, if I was in the library and I was doing something, no one, not the coolest kid in school, and when I was there, would have been like, looking at porn? We just made something up, like, playing video games? We would have said we were trying to hack a bank's computer system before we would have said we were looking at porn. Like, that was the last thing you would have ever told a teacher when I was in high school. So, I thought that line was hilarious. But I mean, there's a lot in this. This was a comedy more than anything.
Yeah.
I mean, this was a comedy more than it was an action movie, which is.
And the comedy worked well.
Oh, absolutely. This was perfect Spider-Man humor.
Yeah, and it wasn't too like. It wasn't like everyone was funny, like I was kind of saying with like.
With Guardians.
Show, it's just like no, the moments where they were funny was like actually playing to the characters of like the situations that they're in, and like John Hughes' influence is just clear as fucking day in this movie, and like there's a certain tone with that carries on where kind of everyone is funny, but it's for purpose. And, like, that's just the isms of what they're kind of going for as far as on an aesthetic and a tone base. But back to the Michelle thing, she's basically like the big reveal, and like we'll get to it.
My friends call me MJ.
Yeah, so her last name is like James or Jackson or something.
She doesn't have a last name. At least the movie didn't make a point to say. Just only her name is Michelle. That's all we know.
There's a last name with a J to get the MJ.
I don't even think there probably will be. Even if there is, I don't think it's going to be Jane.
Okay.
I
don't think it will be either.
Yeah, but they call
I don't think
Michelle
she is the actual Mary Jane. She's just going to be that Mary Jane role.
Yeah,
and
she's based off the character Michelle Gonzalez, which was Peter Parker's like college roommate back in the day, and then they like hook up when they get drunk at like Aunt May and J. Jonah Jameson's wedding. Like they get drunk.
Yeah, so this is like
this
is like the Marvel Now series.
Yeah, and it's an amalgamation of the character where it's like we need someone to play the idea of Mary Jane being the soulmate for Peter Parker, an endgame type character that we can allude to, because they are taking a Harry Potter approach with this, where it's like every movie maybe it'll be a different year in high school. But like that's where the argument with the whole is it real time or not? Because if that's the case, then he'll be a junior by the time we get his next sequel, and he'll be a senior. It would be 2 years from now, so he'd be 17 and he'd be 16 during the Avengers sequels. Which I don't know if that's how they're playing it, but that's what we're looking at. So we could see Michelle coming back to school from summer, and she's just banging now, and I know that's gonna happen. And it's good. That's when the whole love interest is really gonna start playing. Would you like to see that in a sequel, or at the end of the sequel is when they finally kind of get together, and then the next film is where they have a relationship? What do you guys see for Peter Parker's relationship, knowing that Mary Jane is involved now?
As far as the relationship stuff goes, I hope they don't spend too much time on it. You know, I get it. Like, Peter Parker's got to have the love interest because that is a very core value to who Peter Parker is as a character. But if they spend too much time on it, it's gonna get corny, and I don't really want to see that. But I like that. I like that if they're going with the. As long as they don't try to make her Mary Jane, like they just don't make her that exact character. You like this
like gothy, edgy.
Yeah, this gothy, edgy person is cool. Like if they make her own character, make her something totally different. She's
still Michelle.
Yeah, just don't make her like the hot girl that every guy in the school wants. Make her like. What?
They very clearly, like, when you hire Zendaya, dude, there's no, like, I'm just going for the cliches of the movie. I know there's going to be a scene in the sequel where they come back from summer going to, like, junior year, and then she comes in, she shows up, and she's, like, was out, and then came back, and she's hot.
But don't make her, like, the hot
I don't think she will.
You don't think? Okay.
Yeah,
I don't think
so, man. Because
she
didn't have that vibe as a character, you know? Like,
yeah, she was an outcast. It'll be weird to a character if they do that kind of change.
I think they specifically toned down Zendaya's prettiness in this role for a future thing. That's what I took out of it. I hope not, because I think there's a world where that is too cliche.
Exactly, that is too cliche, and I don't want to do that because then it really is this guy just trying to do John Hughes too much. Because that's straight up fucking Breakfast Club. Yeah. And that doesn't need to happen. They just
Archie comics, like literally the whole story is like Archie comes back from summer. And
keep this rational, man. Just like make it like she's attractive, but she's not the typical hot girl, you know. Like I'm hot and I know it now, and all these guys want me. And like make her come back, and maybe she looks a little better, but it doesn't even have to be about looks. She's just more noticeable to Peter.
I probably sound super ignorant, and that's not what I'm saying. Like, oh, this has to be because I want to see hot Zendaya. I'm just saying that Am I crazy for thinking that
No. I
could
think
be, like, do that cliche?
there's
We
no
hope that
there's
they
no
avoid
reason
it.
to think that they wouldn't do that. You
It's
know,
just
like
how
that
movies
makes
are, guys.
sense.
Yeah.
But I hope that they don't do that because
They're better
that's
than
too
that.
easy. Yeah,
They're better than
that's obvious. Like,
You're right.
why?
Yeah, you're right.
So I hope that they don't spend too much time on that. I hope that when she comes back, she is her own character. She's not playing the typical hot girl. She doesn't have the typical hot girl mentality. Like,
Yeah.
She's just something new. Because as far as this is, they're doing something new
Yeah.
with this Spider-Man, and I like that. But I think this is probably, like, gonna piss off some Spider-Man fans, but I think they did miss an opportunity. Instead of doing this, like, oh, my friends call me MJ thing, they could have just, like, fuck it, we're already mixing up a whole bunch of different elements of Spider-Man throughout the years. Let's make it Anna Maria from Spectacular
They
Spider-Man.
could have done that, man.
I mean, yeah, that is, Anna Maria wasn't Peter Parker's love interest. She was Dr. Octopus's.
I think
but
without having him end up with a Mary Jane Watson is a problem. And I know that's maybe me thinking in the past, but I think that is a core to who Peter Parker is and who Spider-Man is as far as the character. As much as you still need to have Flash Thompson, but we're going to make him different this time and make him a little Indian kid and make him more updated to a modern take of this character. Those two people are needed for who Peter Parker is.
I think since we already had 3 movies that already... The whole movie was
MJ in
centered around with that. It's kind of funny.
Second, in Andrew Garfield's.
She was going to be in it, but they cut her out.
Right.
No, but I'm saying that if there's a third one...
They filmed some of her.
She was cast,
Yeah.
man. It's the shit that-
Yeah, Amazing Spider-Man 2.
No, but I'm saying if there was a sequel to that Amazing Spider-Man 2, there's no fucking way, and we all know it, that MJ would have played a role and it would have been the love interest post-Gwen Stacy. That's just what it is because that's how it actually works is he ends up with Mary Jane.
Yeah.
That's what Peter Parker is to me, so they can't go away from that. But if they are making this Michelle character, take that placeholder role, still have it be MJ, maybe an amalgamation of these characters, a lesser-known character from the comics and the most known character from the Spider-Man comics as far as the love interests go.
Right.
Making them come together to make this new breed of something, like, I'm okay with that.
I'm totally okay with it, but like if that's the way they're going, then why not just call her Mary Jane?
You're right.
Like
you're right.
I get it. You didn't want to have it be the obvious thing like Zendaya is Mary Jane. We wanted that to be the surprise, but
At least they didn't throw it in at us like second act, like oh my
Yeah,
friends
yeah.
call me MJ.
yeah, and then like for the rest of the movie, you know, like oh she's Mary Jane, like
They
yeah,
didn't
Well,
throw it in
didn't-
our face. They made us like Michelle before we liked her.
yeah, definitely.
When
I
it came to the rumors leading up to this movie, wasn't it that Liz was supposed to be
People
Mary
got the
Jane?
actresses mixed up, yeah.
Yeah.
But then people straight up were like Michelle is MJ, and then it was like no, Liz might be MJ though, and then it's like no, it's Michelle, and then that was the most recent one. But then I honestly kind of just.
I
shut that
just-
out of my
yeah,
head.
exactly.
Until
I was
they
like,
were
I don't wanna
sitting
hear
at the
about
table
it.
And just
Yeah.
the way the music cues came in, I was like, "Fuck, she's MJ." And then me and you looked at each other. and
yeah,
it was
I was like, all right,
Rest in
fucking, all
peace,
right, I
water
guess.
bottle. What else you guys want to add before we close this bitch out?
Let's see.
Oh, what else?
I think we did a pretty good job. That end credit scene showed.
Oh, that's what I wanted to talk about was the Hannibal Buress versus Captain America jokes that kept running through the movie. That shit was hilarious when he first shows it when he's in the gym class. He's like,
And he's to your gym teacher right there, and the gym teacher's on the other side.
But not only that, it's his line. He's like, this guy's an international criminal now, but I guess I'm supposed to show you this, so you gotta watch this video.
It's state standard. Like,
yeah.
he's just saying like it's a standard for all this shit. I don't want.
He just like goes off and rambles, and he says he's just saying school words. He's not even saying a sentence. He's just pretty sure this guy's an international criminal, but standards and the state, and you gotta watch this. Yeah.
And then the detention one.
Yeah, the detention one. And it's like, hey kids, it's
It's like you
like
messed up.
yes.
So you got detention.
Yeah, and it's just Captain America being the goobery fucking cheesecake cookie cutter Captain America.
And it fits him so well.
Yeah, and it's perfect. And then the end credit scene at the very end, when you actually wait, and he's like, one thing that everybody needs to know about is patience.
Patience is key.
Sometimes patience pays off, and it's just the most rewarding feeling there is. And sometimes you just get disappointed, and
it's a waste of time.
and he's just like, how many more of these do I gotta do?
That line is awesome. But the end credit scene before that actually has to do with the plot.
Yeah,
Scorpion asks basically Vulture, they're both in jail now, and he's like, hey, I got a group of people, kind of like probably our first cue to the Sinister Six, but actually done in a way where it's like, not like, well, actually, there's Mysterio outfit in the background. You know, it wasn't hit over the head, but it was just like, hey, I have friends, and whether or not that's just little gang level people who just want to kill Spider-Man, or that is someone more serious, like a group of 4 other villains that are coming together to maybe stop this incredible force that's on their street level.
It seems like we're getting
Sinister
Six.
They don't, you know,
they don't say
they're not holding us to anything where it's like this actor's cast is this thing.
Yeah.
Sony wants to keep trying.
Yeah.
They want to keep trying.
They're like, dude, that storyline though. Someone at Sony's like, I'm a big fan of the fucking Sinister Six, okay?
The Venom is actually happening this time.
Spider-Man, in all the fucking 60 years that this hero's been around, this is my favorite arc, and we have to do Sinister Six. I swear to God, we've owned this shit for 20 years now. We have to do this.
It's true though. Someone keeps trying, but yeah. So Scorpion's like, hey, so what's his name? Do you know it? And he says, even if I knew the name, I would have killed him myself, or he'd already be dead. So Vulture's, you know, at least paying some.
Yeah, he's like,
back.
Now you owe me.
No, this
Yeah,
kid didn't
kinda,
fuck me in the ass.
He
too
saved my
hard.
daughter multiple
Yeah,
times.
exactly. He's a good kid.
Yeah.
I'm like.
He saved me.
Yeah, he saved me, and I'm a pretty bad dude at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I think I kind of see that he learned a lesson too. That that was kind of cool, but I like that he goes with I know some people, because it's like, yeah, I learned a lesson, but fuck this kid still.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I get it. I'm bad, but fuck off.
Mhm.
I'm bad. I'm gonna be bad.
Yeah, for sure.
'Cause that's actually kind of cool. Like that's evil. He's choosing to be bad. He's still making now. Now it's not even him like I gotta do this for my family. Like I'm up against a wall here. It's him like, fuck it, man. Yeah. Let's go after this kid.
Which is a good like character progression.
Exactly.
He, like accidentally kill someone.
Yeah.
Earlier with the whole like vapor gun.
Yeah.
And
He's like, oh shit.
And you
man.
could tell he's a bad person because he didn't like cry over killing anybody. It wasn't like
Yeah.
the person he killed, but you could tell that like
He's like, I was gonna fuck with that guy anyway. I wasn't gonna kill him, but
no blood on my eye.
he's like,
I'm not gonna think
this
that
guy was
tonight.
fucking with my business, so I don't care. He had it coming. At the end of the day,
Yeah.
that's more of a like whatever helps you sleep at night in my head. But
Yeah.
Overall, the characters were good. The portrayals were good. The writing was.
Oh,
good.
definitely.
The movie was really good. We
the
didn't
acting,
like
I think it should go without saying. That's why we didn't go too far into that. Was the acting was good in this.
Yeah.
I want to say for sure though, and actually I want to give a shout out to my buddy Jesse. He was talking to me about this, and we were supposed to have him on a show one time when he was visiting, but conflicting schedules. So I do want to give him
podcast now called Living Bones. Go check that out.
Yeah, definitely.
Podcast, iTunes, all that good shit. I think he's on pretty much every platform. So go check out his podcast. It's him and his buddy. They just get together, drink beer, and talk about politics and a little bit more serious shit than we do. But they have a good time over there. It's a good podcast.
But I do want to give him a shout out because he and I were talking about this movie as well. And one of the things we talked about, and we didn't get to so much yet, we kind of touched on earlier, was Aunt May.
Mm-hmm.
How she was kind of like too much, like she was too cool. Like she did not feel like an aunt to me.
She was just there to progress the plot.
Yeah, exactly. Like she wasn't really protective of Peter in a way that I would have figured
I
Aunt
thought
May
the whole
could.
protective
Yeah.
thing with the scene where she was calling all the police departments and stuff, though.
It didn't bother me. It's just a new take on Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Which
Like,
we need.
it
We
was
don't need
cool.
another
Like
old lady.
it was a cool take on Ant-Man. I like Marissa Tomei, so I'm gonna be biased there. But part of me, I think it should be mentioned that part of me and part of a friend of mine also, we share this opinion that Aunt May kind of like, if there is an archetype that she should be put into, it should be more of like what Rosemary Harris was playing back in the Tobey Maguire.
Yeah.
Or
We've
even-
also had 2 of that. So
Yeah.
This is the world where that happened.
Exactly.
We're pretty young children here.
I just want to put that in there because I know there's gonna be someone watching this like, I can't
So what
believe
are
we
we
fucking
doing?
talk about the Aunt May thing.
What's that? What's the thing?
Oh no, that was it. That was
That's just the hot man.
Yeah, just the hot man. That's what we were talking about. Was like
That's all you wanted added?
I know there's gonna be someone out there like, no one talked about why I fucking hot May. Like I can't believe that. Like I didn't like that, and I want someone else to not like that. Well, I'm that guy. Like I didn't love that, but I also do like Marissa Tomei, so I did kind of like it. So I'm here for you, but not really.
Yeah. So 9 out of 10.
7.5.
8 out of 10.
There we go. You can find me on Twitter at YOGRRTT, YOGRRTT, and you can find more reviews on this channel after the previews. Follow us on Twitter as well. After the preview, AFTERTHEVIEW. Oh wait, no, this way. Yeah, Casper. You go to CasperChild.com/after the previews. Save $50 off any mattress. Kyle fucking saved me.
CasperTrial.com/after the previews. This has been After the Previews Reviews with our special guest, our community manager, RUFFUM. Where can they find you?
You can find me at RUFFUM on Twitter.
What is it that you're doing that they want you to know about, or that you want them to know about?
Usually after when I go see movies, I put my thoughts on them, usually.
Right on. He posts a lot for the Facebook page for the after the previews, so a lot of the stuff you're seeing on there, especially if it's like information that you actually need, it's probably coming from Ruffum more than it's coming from me. Stuff you're going to see from me is probably more opinion-based and just videos of me talking about movies while I drive. So, that's been After the Previews Reviews. Thanks for watching. Spider-Man Homecoming review. Thanks for being here live if you're here, and definitely like this video downstairs if you're done watching, because that's the cool thing to do when you watch someone's video.
Consultation Podcast Network, all audio platforms. We are there. Thank you for watching.
Subscribe to us on YouTube and like our page on Facebook, and shut off your cell phones. Bitches.